Hi, this is Beezy, and we're on the Creative Cosmic Roundtable Conversation. It is October 15th, and welcome everybody. This roundtable, we're going to do just a little bit different in that we will have a jumping off point. And the jumping off point is having to do with the time of choosing that we're in right now, with all of the energies up-leveling and changing, all of the changes going on within each being, whether they're a human being or an animal or any other being, the changes going on in the different realities, and jumping off point with the seed point in understanding and recognizing that we really are in two different conscious Earths right this minute. There's multiple communities and vibrational frequencies within each of those different Earths, but basically there's a conscious Earth and an unconscious Earth. And so what I'd like to do is play from that perspective. What are you choosing? What are you noticing? What are you focusing on? What's the predominant focus of your energy vibration? And how are you, in what that you're noticing coming up and changing and shifting and expanding within you, how are you shifting, and what are you, which focus are you choosing to give your predominant energy vibration to? So let's just open it up and go around the round table and start our playing from there.
I'll go. It's Barbara.
Great. Hey, Barbara.
Hi everybody. This is fun. I've been, for the last couple of months, doing a lot of physical clearing of the old energies, and there's been a lot of healing crises and, well, just a lot of clearing. And my focus is to the high intention of, well, the intention of connecting my 12 strands of DNA. And that's my focus. And I've been doing the prayer that was published not too long ago. And I'm working on that and kind of watching what I'm eating and just giving myself a lot of TLC, a lot of rest. And some of it is just because I have to. My body is gearing up for this. I noticed with the prayer or affirmation prayer thing that I did, this 12 steps that I did last night, I clearly got dizzy after it. During the course of it, I got very emotional, which was more releasing of embracing the changes. And then afterward, my eyes got very clear. I got clarity afterward. So something shifted just in that one little session. I still have a lot more repetitions to go, but I find it a really interesting tool and exercise to do on top of meditating and just being in clear embracement of a 5D or higher vibrational, to raise my vibrational level to get out of illness and to be out of that field. That's what I've been doing. Anybody else?
Yeah, I can relate.
Is that what you meant?
To.
Yeah, that's great. Perfect. Keep going.
Okay, great.
So, this is Irina. I can definitely relate to, cleansing.
Hang on one second, Irina. Esther, you've got noise when you're on your internet connection, so you've got to mute that, or that's not going to work. Okay, go ahead. Irina, sorry.
Okay, good. So I can definitely relate to, the releasing and prayers. I'm meditating. It's probably the same. It's just different a lot. And today I feel so just not right. And I am participated in a couple meditation when, we're trying them like a world meditation, trying to ease the process of Gaia shifting and assist in healing and humanity, make it just easier on people, right? And I'm thinking, how on the world can I meditate to bring ease if I'm so uneasy myself today? Like, I open Facebook and like so much in news and everything, and we just still kind of digesting Las Vegas, now Santa Rosa. And it just like, and I could not get it out of my system. I was trying to purge it. I was trying to meditate. I was trying to do something, but just emotionally was not in the right place. And I'm not a big writer on, journal, right? And I decide to just like go ahead and just write what I feel, because I start feel like in my head all this negative thoughts start piled up, and I cannot kind of sort it. So I start writing, and yes, it is time of choosing. And I'm thinking, well, I know what I choose. I know I'm choosing love and light. And as soon as I write it, I'm thinking, if I'm choosing light and love, then I'm concentrating on the wrong stuff, like on a big scale. On the big scale, it doesn't matter it's cabal or like dark forces or it's Gaia cleansing, right? Because both ways it's good. If it's dark forces, that means they're so desperate they are just going out of their mind, trying to keep control. If it's Gaia cleansing and purging and doing like cleansing stuff, this is great. Like, seriously, we're going through 3 CD to 5 CD. It's very challenging. When we're trying to stop smoking, we're going crazy. And it's much less than going through from 3 CD to 5 CD. So yes, Gaia obviously going through hell herself. So, and immediately start writing this down, and it just like something inside me just like easing, and I was thinking, yeah, heck yes, I'm saying myself, yes, I am love and light, I am inside love and love, and universe asking me, are you? And I'm saying, yes, I am. And I was thinking, my God, first time journal actually brings such a release. And yes, suffering. And yes, that is like point when I have to keep my like energy high and pure and emotionally right, so I can share it during my meditation. Send it love, send it light, send this like compassion to people who need it, so they can feel it, and hopefully they will get some release from that. It was hard to deal with that, but it's all okay. It's all good. It's all part of the process we're going, I guess. This is my experience, so I can relate on, releasing. I was released a lot today.
And in the telling of that, Irina, your energy expanded in the telling of it. So that's giving me the sense that you had that expanding energy as you were doing.
Yeah, that's true, because I actually feel it. Sometimes it's actually good to talk about it. Just to talk out loud. It's helping. It's nice. Good. So thank you guys for being here. It's very nice talking, and it's definitely working.
Great. Who's next?
This is Taliesin. I'll be happy to go next.
Okay.
So, I have been on this path for so long. It seems like lifetimes. This particular lifetime, I feel like it was about early 2001, 2002, about the time of 9/11. I had the perception of the Earth splitting. And I'm not talking about like a cell. I'm talking like a cell, when a cell divides, meiosis, two cells identical.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I've had that vision for quite some time. And I wasn't quite sure how it would manifest, but it seemed like the way it would happen for me. I'm a very kind, forgiving person. I'm a healer. Well, I'm not a healer, but I practice healing techniques. I always say, people say, well, you're a healer. No, I'm not a healer. I'm just a signpost. I'm the one directing how you could heal yourself if you choose. And so all of these modalities that I've looked at and studied and become certified in have become just this vast toolbox for me to pull from. And walking into choosing is not there's obviously the choice has been made a long time ago that I choose a world of peace and love and support, and realizing that what happens to me happens to everyone. So it's important to become, I think, the master of your mindset, and realizing that we have been hijacked. Our mind control has been hijacked. And we all know this. And so being able to observe your thoughts as they happen and discern simultaneously where this belongs. Is it yours or is it not yours? And then you don't waste your time putting energy where you can't do anything. You can't make a change when it belongs to someone else. So this is an exciting time for me. I'm sure it is for all of you too, and many, many other beings. I don't fear death because I don't believe in death. Death is an illusion. I like the way John Lennon put it. He said, it's like getting out of one car, one vehicle, and getting in another. And that's a very straightforward metaphor. I think it's very much like that. So I could talk a lot about this, but what's happening right now, the last grasp of the dark, it's been a struggle, but I feel like I've got it under control. On day-to-day basis, I walk in this world of peace and understanding, and no matter what I run into, I really am as kind as I know how to be in that moment. And there's a lot that I've been confronted with. It's almost like I feel like I'm being tested daily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. People come to me and do things, say things that are just offensive, untrue, judgment, all of these things that we run into. And I smile, and I let them have their peace. I don't try to change them or argue with them. I just bless them and let them go. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes that's really hard. Sometimes I find myself afterwards crying. How can people be so cruel?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is where I'm at, and I'm ready for the final act, the final stage show to happen. I'm sure many people are. So I'll leave it at that at the moment and let the next person go.
Great. Yeah, and that testing that you mentioned is is very true, and a lot of that testing is actually us testing us. So are we really clear and cleared on something? I used to I had an analogy for it. It's the cab would keep coming around going, "Hey, you want to get in? Want to get in? Want to get in? Want to play with this? Come on, you can do it. Get in this car. We'll drive around the block a few more times and see what you think." Yeah, no, just give it a salute and say, "I'm good, thanks so much. I appreciate it, but I don't choose that anymore." So that's part of the integration where when we're looking at something, whether it's good or bad or whatever it is, what is lighting up within us that we can then, whether it's something that's in our direct reality and experience, or if it's something that's a little bit more removed, like watching something that's going on TV or current events, those kinds of things. And when something's lighting up and we work to integrate it, that just gives us a sense of, because you can't be half pregnant. We're either all one or we're not. So if there's all of these emotions and all of these letting goes and all of these different focuses that each being is having, and there are big communities and cohesive patterns of energy focused vibration that are not what we might choose, but they're there. And so we pick up on that. And so that part of that is within us as well. So when we're doing the integrating, and it can be just as simple as walking through, as you were talking about, Taliesin, and you see it, you feel it, it's hard, and you do what you're doing. And that, I would imagine, changes as you move through each vibrational frequency and field. It's almost like, if you sometimes you can walk on a morning and you'll feel currents of air, blow past your face, and that's the same kind of thing with the energy. And so you just shift how you're moving through that. And then afterwards, as you mentioned, there sometimes when it's really hard, and that's actually a good thing when you have those moments. That's the feeling of the true integration. You're meeting yourself, all parts of yourself, all quote unquote negative and positive energy frequencies of yourself, and you're being sad and being love for all of that at the same time. And it's a kind of a signal that that's a true integration and dissolving of all of that happening.
I like
Go ahead.
No, it's Irina. I just wanted to say I like how Alison said, he's observing his thoughts and he's looking if it's his or somebody else, and it just let it go. You're so much closer to mastery than I am. I'm just sometimes all over the places and trying to, to put my emotions in the right place and just analyze them and just not going crazy. But definitely I'm feeling this bombarding on from every side. It's just like constantly under attack. It's all good. It's tasting. It's good too.
Mm-hmm. Who else wants to go?
Hey guys, so it's Katie. It's funny because I definitely can connect with what both of you were saying when it comes to, really just in the past, I guess like week or two, the way I describe it is I feel like all of my ugliness is coming out and being put on blast. That to me is exactly how it feels. And, you've got the part of me that, I thought I was very self-aware, and I was like I see it happening. I'm like, why is this happening? Why am I being so ugly right now? And so really for me, it's just being able to still stay true to what I believe, but also being able to take not to feed into negativity. So, and so it just, yeah, it's been kind of like a whirlwind, but I feel closer to probably the end of this week and or the end of last week is I'm just feeling more connected with it, and I'm being able to fully I guess like what you kind of said, BZ, being able to really integrate it. So just understanding it and not feeding into it and choosing the path of like compassion and just being able to stay more focused on that. But yeah, it's funny because I feel like that's been happening to a lot of people. So we feel all the negativity coming out, but really just trying to, focus on the main thing and what my intention really is and what I really want. And, and that of course is just coming from the right spot, coming from the heart and from love and, peace and all of that. And so I'm just doing my best to try to focus on it. But yeah, it's very difficult to do that sometimes, especially when you're just surrounded by it. I mean, I know like at my work, like there's a lot of negativity sometimes, and it's very, very hard to pull above that. But I'm just trying and just chugging along.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the negative feelings aren't per se good or bad. It's how long you stay and play with them. That's more the measure of where your predominant vibration is. So if you're having something go on and you just want to jump up and down and rant and rave and stomp your foot and curse the world blue, then do it as the most amazing creative being that you are. Just take a moment, you could do it in front of other people or you could do it on yourself. And I mean, paint the sky with every color you can imagine of all different, let it out and really get into it. And you'll find that you'll transmit it even faster that way, because after a few seconds or a few minutes, depending on where you are, you're thinking, well, this is actually kind of fun, and look, I made this or I made that color, whatever it is, and before you know, it's like, oh, okay, that's I'm all good. I think trying to stuff these things down, it's the quantum size tube of toothpaste moment. So all of this stuff is being squeezed out of each of our tubes of toothpaste, and it's got to come out. We can't take it with us.
Yep. And I also feel like I can't get anything done. I feel like time is going by so fast, and that I can't get anything done. It's like I look at the clock and 4 hours go by, and I did one thing, and I'm like, seriously?
Right.
That's absolutely true. The time just literally, where the day going, it just blinking away. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is insane sometimes.
Yeah, I have my different lists in my kind of consciousness. There's this would be really nice to get done. This is what I like to do. I have to at least do this one thing.
Right?
And it is what it is, and those are lists as it relates to work. But I move through it, and because it doesn't do me. I mean, I still am where I am and doing what I'm doing, and it doesn't do me any good to get upset or annoyed or whatever at it. It just
right.
So if I start with the thing that's most essential, like taking care of this particular animal or doing this particular thing, and that really needs to get done, then that's good. My dog says, make sure I'm top on the list.
Right.
The dogs are important. This is important, exactly.
Esther, did you want to go?
I do, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now From below, house of earth, made a heartbeat of her crystal core. Bless us with harmony to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. All young Unadku, Eva Maya, Emma O. All hail the harmony of mind and nature. And pardon me, I began that way with the 7 galactic direction prayer because, oh, what a day. I think it was Lena and I think Katie. There was a young man speaking, and I can't recall the name, and I apologize because I tried to write it down, and I missed even that. Speaking of, oh, what a day. And BZ, of course, we go a long way back, more than you know, because I've done so many courtesy letters. I've been in court behind courtesy letters, and oh, so many stories to tell. But what a day. I work outside of my home because it's my means of survival in what we might refer to as 3D, but it's a reality because I have to get up and go there. Even times maybe I don't want to because I haven't found a way where I can pay rent, buy food or grow food, or just even have a piece of land to do so without having some type of monetary means of support. I know that the money is nothing more than a physical thing. And the young man who spoke on death, he touched my heart because I, too, have dwelled on that subject for some time. I've raised 4 children, the oldest being 30 and the youngest 21. However, what I taught my children was they've gone to funerals. They've seen many family members pass. We would go to a funeral, and we would look. They would see a body. And I would ask my children, where did that person's life go? I could see their wheels turning, thinking on what I'm asking. And what I tell them, the part that left them was God, the God within. The breath in your body, the blood in your veins, and the light in your days. How do we stay activating the power within? Because it's in there. The issue is this. Everything around us is physical. All the things we see, touch, whatever we want to say, that we refer to as physical. However, when people die, there's never a U-Haul at people's funeral carrying earthly possessions. But so much energy and time is spent on accumulating things that won't go with you. The part that leaves you is seldom known because it's always hidden. You never have time to hardly nourish that side of yourself when you're trying to meet the demands of what's been set up as our current world, our world that used to be. I'm going to say used to be because we are moving out of it. I feel it, but I know there's challenges out here. Today, all I did was think about this opportunity to be with all of you. Why? Because I felt like there's an energy like my own. Because I'm out here in this world every day dealing with all kind of things, with all kind of people. I genuinely smile, and it's natural. I think it's part of my DNA system. My mother smiled all the time. All the time. I smile, don't even know I'm smiling. That's how often I do it. But I also try to carry the energy that goes with that smile with me. And I try to project that outward. So today, I'm at work. I'm trying to hurry up and get out of here because I don't want to miss the opportunity to be on this call. So, yes, I'm rushing. I'm moving fast. Here I am coming down the road. All of a sudden, I see blue lights behind me. I guess I was driving a little fast. I had somewhere to be. I wanted to be on this call. Okay, I got a ticket. I got a ticket. And I was cited, so he says, with the laser at 18 miles over the speed limit. However, safety first, which I already feel safe, again, activating. I feel like my God spirit was still with me the whole time, and I didn't really care. I was on open road country. I'm down in Georgia, okay? And I feel like people's life sometimes is expressed through experiences. Depending on what you experience, we're all not in the same places. I get we're all from the same source, but things that you've been doing in your lifetime can shape who you are. You react accordingly to what you experience. One thing I'm just going to say, I'm going to put out here, is my father marched with Martin Luther King. So I guess I expressed myself in the way that I came up. At that time when he did all that, I was 5 years old. But the stories, the history, the memorabilia that I have, my father's deceased now, but the learnings that I got from what he carried me through, coming out of a segregated South, he moved to the North. I was born and raised in the North. Interestingly enough, I've moved South, and I've raised my kids in the South. And oh, what a story we can tell. So love you all. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your time tonight. I enjoyed being here with you. Much love and respect.
Much love to you. And you shifted the whole table right up. It's a couple more feet higher off the ground now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could
appreciate
participate. And it's coming from my heart and soul, y'all. So forgive me if I did anything different. And BZ,
no forgiveness
I have much love for you. I've been on that IUV site since 2012, I think. I've been through the history of all the writings and everything going on there. I participated in more ways than you know. I single-handedly sent those courtesy notice letters to lawyers in every state almost of this country. Cool. All I could do is 1 and 2 with the stamps and whatever, but I did my part. Just want y'all to know.
That's terrific. Yeah, Barbara papered a lot of the country with courtesy notices too.
Yeah, I did. I'm about to paper the cat cop that came by yesterday.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about everything changing and, well, you know, basically I think it's safe to say people are just going batshit crazy. And you know, so people touched on it in different ways as they shared what they're focusing on and kind of what their predominant vibration is and how you can choose that. Are you noticing, tune into yourselves for a moment, and if you can, so drop out of your head, drop into your heart. It's usually helpful to totally drop out if you put your hand on your heart. And kind of scan back over the last, I don't know, pick a time frame. There's a couple days, a week, couple weeks, maybe the last 3 months. And are you, again, coming from your heart, not your head? Because the head usually will say, well, you know, I heard so-and-so tell a story and, you know, they're ascending faster than I am, or they're clearer than I am, or they're, you know, fill in the blank than I am. So there's no hierarchy. There's no race to any of this. It's all happening at each of our own pace, and that's by design by us. So what I'd like you to do is feel into your capabilities coming online, and whatever that means to you. And have you, sometimes people will describe where they've noticed something new outright, or they've noticed that they're thinking more about a particular kind of thing. And you might say, well, oh, cool, you're doing that? No, I'm just thinking about it. Well, there's a dot for you to connect right there. So play with that for a moment and share what's coming up for you, what you want to give voice to around that.
Hey guys, so this is Katie. So the biggest thing that sticks out for me within the past couple of weeks, when I was actually traveling on business, because now that I feel that on a higher level of like just compassion in general, I honestly just want, like, my heart told me just to stop eating meat. Like, as weird as that sounds, like, I just no longer wanted it. And so I had stopped for a time, and then, of course, usually how you're talking about, like, getting back to my head, like, I try to, like, reason why, no, it's okay, and try to, like, reason being able to do it or being able to, go forth and not feel, terrible about it, because I just felt such a stronger connection. It just wasn't something that my heart really was telling me to do. But so I basically ignored that feeling and just, kept just on eating the way that I was and try to put it aside. And then it was really interesting because my sister had actually began to eat better and she had like a higher compassion just for animals and for everything connected in general. And so she started on that path too. And then, and it just, the veil just kind of lifted on that and everything that's going on with just the industry in general. And that's kind of what moved me to be more, to just eat differently and to just be more compassionate in that way. And I think that's funny, how you just mentioned talking about like listening to your heart versus like what your head is telling you, because here we are like programmed to think and do certain things. And so that's no longer going to be the roadmap for where we need to go. We need to focus more like on what we believe and what we're feeling. And I just found that very interesting that even though I like fought it off, that it ended up coming back anyway. And that ended up being, and then once I, started going towards what I was feeling, like now I just feel so much better and just everything is just so much clearer for me.
Great. It's great. Yeah. The heart knows. We don't listen to it very often, or we didn't used to.
Right.
But yeah. But and sometimes the heart will talk about sharing emotion and stuff. The heart will stomp its foot and go, hello, hey, are you listening?
Yep.
So a lot of people have been having heart expansions. I remember a lot of people touched on several of the different roundtables, and I remember, gosh, it was a long time ago, but it was my marriage of 25 years was winding down, and there were, I don't know, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks where every night, or almost every night, I would wake up and I would go and I'd sit on the couch, and my chest felt like, I had carpenters inside and they were installing, a bigger room. And it was uncomfortable. It wasn't so many times when it was painful, but it was, pretty ouch. But very cool at the same time, which seems very strange and an odd way to describe it at 3:30 in the morning when you're sitting on the couch. Thinking, okay, there's something very odd and interesting and a little ouchy going on right this minute. But it never worried me. And one of the things I was able to do, and the reason it didn't worry me, was even with all that going on, I was able to stay in my heart and not listen to my head, which was going a mile a minute. Okay, you're having a heart attack now.
Right.
This is happening, that's happening. You better wake somebody up or call someone. And I thought, no. And actually, it's echoing right this minute. My heart is expanding this moment as I'm telling this story. But so if we can listen to our hearts, feel into our hearts, it actually has a much bigger brain and more electromagnetic wattage than our actual brain does. So
yes, I feel that energy as well. With everything going on so fast, and we're all trying to shift into something better for everyone, because everyone has a right to thrive. I work in the human resources department, and I always think about, I can't say what a person should get monetarily, because I work for retailer, so the store manager makes that decision. But I always say to her, everyone has a right to thrive. Why do you feel that they have to start at the lowest point? You know, can we bring them up to the high and the mid? You know, I mean, so everybody can have something. But this is like people still want to have that ruling power. You know what I mean? It's like almost like the ego parts of people are still so strong. Like, I'm this title, so I deserve this or I deserve that, versus looking at everyone the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everyone should be able to thrive. And I often think about the American money and how we rarely carry cash. So if we're using debit cards and we pay bills online, if that's all it's about, why can't we just add zeros, decimal points for everybody? Because there's nothing of value being exchanged other than ourselves.
Right. But that's their secret, okay?
But isn't it such a reality? I mean, that's what
absolutely
makes me feel very strange in my environment sometimes. And I have been saying that for a long time. I've had an administrative assistant background for the last 30 years. And even went to school for it 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. And I look at how you end up in certain places. I feel like when I set out to be an administrative assistant, I don't ever just settle for one industry. I sell myself as I can work in any industry. I have a skill to offer that I like the back of the ground, the back of the house, and can assess what a need is and try to fulfill it, even uplifting people. There's a young lady at the job I work on. She's on a sales floor, and she's just turned like 19. And she always says, I'm so broke. She'll say, Miss Esther, I'm so broke. And I said, Abby, quit saying that. I said, the universe hears you. And she laughed. And she laughed at me. I said, don't claim it. I would tell her, I said, don't claim broke. Stop claiming it. I said, because the universe hears you, and it's going to be yours because it thinks that's what you want. So yesterday I was on the sales floor, and she came up to me and she said, Miss Esther, I was driving down the street on fumes yesterday. I had 19 cents in my bank account. And she said, I thought about you. She said, I was getting ready to say I'm so broke. She said, and I didn't say it because I thought about you. She said, and we got paid this morning. I said, and you were okay, right? And she said, yes. She said, Miss Esther, go write a book.
Great.
So I'm just saying, the little things we can do to, uplift the vibration, inspire each other. And I told her that. I said, the girl sitting next to her, she's a young lady. She's probably 18. And she said, I can't be like that. Because Abby said, Miss Esther's always smiling. She's always upbeat. And every time she asked me how my day is, I said, great. I said, we got to make it that way. And the other little girl, Veronica, she said, I just can't do that. I said, you have to try. I said, I need y'all here. I said, we got to lift the vibration. I said, because the universe hears us, and the more we put out, the more we are getting back. But sometimes you just feel so alone until I'm in a group like we are tonight.
Yeah, well, you're shining light, and you're shining your light brightly, and sometimes it is hard because there aren't, in a room like tonight at this table, there's all these bright lights around, and we're thinking, oh, cool, all these bright lights, it's so nice. So
it is.
Again,
it's been a long time coming.
You can always. That's another thing of the time of choosing is you can choose and tap into that. We've all had this conversation before we brought it into physicality. So one of the things to feel into is how can you play in that more? How can you, on some of the other calls, I'm trying to think, I think it was the Monday one and the Wednesday one. I mean, people were going to town big time with the playing in something and the words that they were using and what they were giving voice to and how they were toning was creating these incredible energies and pictures that everybody else around the table was able to really partake in. And I think the thought started to bloom that this is something that we can do anytime or at various times. And, doing it at a round table when this energy is here and the vortex that we've created is one place to do it. But where else can I play with this and do it that way as well?
Well, I really appreciate being able to be with this group because I'm challenged with that all the time of not being able to really shine my light full on because people are blown away and I'm attacked and belittled. And so I really feel like my life is, I have the ability, like one of my quantum gifts is, and we all have this ability, I think, bilocating. And I forget who it was, somebody was saying about time and how your day goes by and you feel like you haven't got what you wanted to get done. I've really let go of that whole self-critic voice because I know that at night when I go to sleep, I'm in another world and I'm doing a lot and I'm accomplishing so much. I remember a lot of it. There's beings, I'm already in this other world, this new world, most of the time. And it's when I come out of it and step back into this reality, so-called false reality, that it's like, oh my God, it's still here. It's like, people are still playing this game. So what I realized is that, and I think I've been thinking a lot about the trial that's coming up on Wednesday with Heather and Randy, and reading documents and just feeling into it, and the judge that's going to be there, Shirley, and the rebuttals that came back, but late this week from the United States. And it's just, it dawned on me that they can't fathom that the UCC foreclosed the government and it's all done and over with because it's not in their mindset. It's not there. If you can't imagine something, you're not going to see it in reality. It's just not going to even be there. It's like a TV show that you think is on, but it's not. It's not going to show up. So this is where I really think this is what part of what Heather is saying when she says nobody's left behind. That she's got such empathetic and compassionate skills, this woman. Oh my God. That she's being able to be kind and gentle and with her captors, with her the people that are holding her into this trap. So I realized that it's not in their mindset. They haven't even imagined it. They're so afraid of stepping out of the box of not having what, their little box to live in, that it's frightening. And so this is what I'm talking about when I say our quantum gifts of being able to really feel, be empathetically sensitive to what these other people are going through. They're scared. They're really scared. And I understand it, but whether they'll ever get out of it is the question I don't know the answer to.
Well, they don't have a choice. And I don't mean that because you and I are here or holding the space for the court or Heather's in court and I'm not just talking about the people in court, but they don't have a choice because Gaia is gone. She's ascending and shifting into a completely different reality and dimension and energy frequency space. And all the beings on her gotta go or gotta go someplace else. It's really as simple as that.
I was going to say, I agree with you 100%, but are there other entities too that are helping and are assisting, but they can't reveal themselves because nobody's ready for that?
You mean in general for all of this that's going on?
Well, I mean, like how they talk about the Pleiadians.
Oh, yeah, but it's up to us to do it. Nobody can do it for us. There are no saviors. There is no hierarchy.
In, right? Mm-hmm.
No, they're here. You can look down when you're walking down the street sometimes. If you look with your eyes, the knowing, seeing eyes, you'll start to notice there's an awful lot of non-locals that are all around, or that will
I believe
that are absolutely there, or that are just come in for a moment so that you can see them. But we are the ones we've been waiting for, and we are the ones to wake up and get this done. And sometimes, you might think, wake the fuck up. And,
oh my God, yeah.
But this is how it happens. And Esther, you mentioned those two young women. There's a lot going on there, more than we know. That's the other thing. Just because if we paint a picture of what we think we're seeing and noticing and how other people are reacting, and Taliesin, you gave voice to it about, some specific things happening and the emotional release and response you had to that afterwards. One of the things to see if you can feel into rather than think about these things, and that's always going to be our best, most expansive friend, is that there is so much more going on than we think is going on. So if we stop thinking about what we think is going on and instead feel into what is going on, then we'll notice that we really can, quote unquote, see from our feeling, energetic, vibrational eyes, oh, hey, look, wait a minute, there is a lot of stuff. People's colors are changing. In a moment you can have a conversation with them and they have a certain energy to them, a certain frequency. Their colors are one way, and you don't need to see colors in someone to know that, but if you feel into it, you'll get the sense of what I'm talking about.
Great reminder.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And when your love comes through, Taliesin, even if it's just in a, in an expansive way, and one thing you may need to feel into is whether or not sometimes you need to walk around with shields up. Still be who you are, transmitting what you're transmitting, but just have a little bit of your shields up so that anything that's below a certain frequency set will just bounce off.
Well, I'm well aware of that. I studied Qigong, and I practice Qigong, and when I'm treating patients, clients, I always set up an energy field around me, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And if I hadn't done that over the years, I would be a basket case. It's very powerful. It works, and this is why a lot of healing therapists don't make it, because they don't know how to protect themselves.
Right.
So yeah, that's very true. I going back to what you were saying, of course they don't have a choice. That Gaia, our mother, is shifting big time, and this is how I see the meiosis happening. But of course, my mind always says, "Well, how is it going to happen? How is it going to happen?" And I have to go back in my heart and just go, "Well, just trust it. Trust it. It's going to happen. It's just one day, one moment. It's just going to be. There'll be no more." And I have to. And my mind, of course, gets back involved and goes, "Well, it's like the Celestine prophecy. You're just going to start vibrating and vibrating, and you're just poof, you're gone. You're in this new world." So it's fun to contemplate. It's great to get my imagination back online after it was suppressed as a young child. It took me a long time to wake it up. Because as a child I was taught, that's not how it is. You don't think about those kinds of things. That's not true. This is come back to the hard reality. You're not being normal. It's like So that construct, it's all dying away. It's so wonderful to see.
Think of it that you're the light that's giving people the permission to play in their imagination again. And you don't have to say anything.
Exactly.
You just be. Just show up and transmit and be, even if it's in just a nanosecond. The lasting impact you will have is enormous.
Well, I always like to take whenever I go somewhere, no matter where it is, a store, or, that when I walk in, I immediately enlighten the grid, put in the light in the grid, and that I'm raising the vibration of every being that will walk in this place, wherever it is. I love the grocery stores or any place I go. And it works. It works. So yeah, it's absolutely positive.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Works.
I need to try it to work.
You can do it. Do it.
Yeah,
you'll be amazed.
I believe so. I just never thought about that. I think it's like wonderful idea. I will try it tomorrow morning.
Well, I want to go where you shop.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And driving, if you drive a car to go places, or you can do it if you're taking some kind of mass transit as well. But I started doing this years ago when I had a job, when I was on a route that I did, and as I drove through, and I envisioned all of these really beautiful colored energetic sparkles, so my energetic trail, my path as I went through the different neighborhoods as I was doing this, and when I would cross a path on my route, so in other words, I'd drive one place in a neighborhood and then I'd hit one spot where I'd cross, I could still see the trail of the lights and the fizzy sparkles where I had been, and I just amplified it. So as I envisioned this, and I used my imagination to do this, then I amplified it and saw the different colors and saw the different people within the neighborhoods, if there was someone on the street or maybe there was a little park and they were playing whatever, and put forth the whole bubble of my truck that I was driving and my whole being that I was there without saying anything in a way that was auditory to these people, but amplifying that light out. And after just a few weeks doing this, because the route was the same, every day that I went to work was a Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and so each day was, different route. But people would start to notice the vehicle that I was in, because it was roughly in the same areas at roughly the same time on each of those days, and they just had this quizzical look on their face and smile. They didn't quite know what it was. They thought maybe it was the truck and the business, but that wasn't it. But they didn't quite know what it was. It was almost the sense of like if you go someplace and you're having samples from somebody has a booth and they're selling food and it's really good food and you have a little sample and you walk off and you're going on having your conversation, looking at other stuff, doing whatever you're doing. But that sample, that delicious thing you tried is lingering on your taste buds and it's kind of playing in your mouth and playing with, oh, I might make this or that or the other thing. So we all have that ability, and if we can amp it up, if we can amplify it a bit and play with it more, it makes us happier because we're not in that constrained other reality that we don't really want to be in box. We're in our own light bubble, a very expansive light bubble, and as we float or drive or whatever you want to use as your analogy, your metaphor to go through, we're sending that out. And one thing that's really helpful to help your mind expand as well as your heart just enjoy and go, yeah, see, you can do this, is to set up little things where you can test that so that you're getting, as you amplify things, you're getting your feedback coming through, just little bits of feedback here and there. And that will absolutely help you outweigh, the serious Debbie Downers or other people who might be along your path there.
So, as an example, you mean like going into a store and mentally, heart-mindly handing out these blueberry muffins full of light.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that. But when you think of something that smells really delicious, right, and especially if it's familiar and you've eaten it before, just on the blueberry muffin as an example. So that sets a whole bunch of things going on within you. So you're actually experiencing, savoring, enjoying that muffin before you even take the first bite. So if you use that as a metaphor for what you might be doing, what's the deliciousness that you can send forth in a way? And you can play with it where you may just send it to one part of the store. So that, and then watch as, so it's all good because they're getting this enjoyable, light-filled infusion experience that you're amplifying out there. But you're being able to notice, so maybe you only send it out to your right. So everything to your right might sparkle a little brighter, or you might shift to how the lighting is to the right of you or to the left of you. And then see if, as people notice, and they will notice. They will not know exactly what they're noticing because very few people allow themselves to notice things. They're so entrenched in their exhaustion and their mind numbingness, even if they want to get out of it, they figure their way to protect themselves from that is to close the lid on the box tighter. So they're all beautiful beings. And they all want to be at the place that each of you are right at this moment. So what are ways that you can feel into and play to help them glimpse it? You're not doing anything for them. You're just helping them glimpse it. And then where they go and how they play with it from there is up to them.
Absolutely.
So has anybody noticed as you're going through your day that if you have an emotional energy signature that you're sending out, or if you're thinking about something, that you can it's not so much about eliciting a response from someone, but that you can tune into a sense of an energetic feedback, because everything's a mirror to us.
I definitely tie into that most all the time. Because how I view interactions with the people is that I'm a student and a teacher and vice versa in every moment. So the data that's being collected by my senses is that information as I can dialogue it and evaluate it and kind of go, isn't that interesting? This is a reflection of what I'm putting out, So yeah, gathering the data. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, it does.
Lately,
What else
I've
does
just been
someone else
feeling
notice?
I've been feeling a lot of like those butterflies in my stomach, and I can't find out why. Just like sudden, random times. I just like something. I don't know if something's going on around me.
Are they?
Me.
What does it feel like? I mean, I know what butterflies in your stomach are, but when is it really an upset or a nervous feeling, or is it an anticipatory thing?
And I keep feeling like something's going to happen, but it's not necessarily that it's a negative thing that's going to happen, but it's just twirling like something's happening. And I can't.
Yeah. Oh, something is happening.
I know, but it's like I want to know. Like I'm trying to figure it out. What is it at this time? Why am I feeling like this way? Because I keep trying to not be afraid of anything. I turned off the news like 4 years ago for that reason. I stopped watching, mainstream media because I need to turn that noise off. So I try to dwell in spaces of joy as much as I can and feed myself that. But I know there's a human side of me that, when people say are mirroring, and I'm thinking, I can't be thinking like that. I can't be thinking like that. And separately, I have such a joyful thing going on kind of in my life right now. I have a daughter that's 23 who has come home, but she's come home with an infant. And this baby is 3 months old. But she just does things. I mean, I try to go out. I have a little deck that overlooks a lot of pine trees. So I try to take her out every morning. And that prayer that I ran through tonight is what I do with her. And I kind of use that to calm myself down. I'm trying to look to all the directions, trying to ground my feet to the earth, whatever it takes. I mean, I heard trees, whatever. But that feeling is, I don't know. Like something's going on.
That's what I was thinking. A lot of times if we have a feeling like that, butterflies in our stomach, which usually, if we're just thinking about it, means I'm a little nervous, something's about to happen, what is it? And because we're so well trained and so well indoctrinated and there's so much going on, are we misreading it that, this is my spidey sense telling me, duck and cover because something's going to happen. So when the next time that happens, put your hand where you're getting that feeling and feel the feeling and say, ask it. It's your body, which is an incredible mechanism that's showing you all sorts of things. What's the feeling? What's going on? I think my sense is that you'll find that it's anticipatory of, in a good way, an expansive way, and it's almost like there's something, a bubble of these energies that are coming that are so expansive and so joyous that are kind of magic switches for people to flip them awake. It's right on the event horizon, and that may be what you're tuning into.
Well, thank you for that tip. I'm definitely going to try that.
And when we're using this as the choosing and jumping off point, so what are you choosing to feel about something that you're immediately thinking about? Use that as kind of your guide wherever you are, whatever you're doing. When you get off the call, when you go someplace later today, when you're going someplace tomorrow, just choose. If you choose to be completely in your head and it's your choice, bravo. That's perfect. But do it from a choice point rather than just a kind of autopilot point.
Okay.
So I'd love to go around the table and have hear from each one of you. What is your choice? What do you want to give voice to that will be your focus? Maybe it's something you've already started to focus on and you want to amplify it by giving voice to it now, or a shift that you want to make. What is your focus that you'll choose and you give voice to henceforth?
Hey guys, it's Katie. I'll kind of kick it off. So what I want to choose to focus on more is taking like my light and my energy and just making that trail and expanding that trail. I think that's amazing, because I've been told that I have, great energy when I come into a room and stuff like that, but I never really thought about making it extend everywhere I go and just expanding it in that way. And I think that's amazing, and that's something that I want to focus on. I feel like that will just, help hold it, even after I'm gone, to kind of help hold that energy, and hopefully other people can feel it and raise their vibrations from it as well. So that's definitely what I want to focus on going forward.
Well, I'm going to interrupt here for a minute. I can feel it. It's like this this multicolored ginger ale soda pop fizzing that's really effervescent and beautiful. That's cool, Katie.
I am here with you. I like how Busy said energetic signature, and I'm starting thinking about that. I think I want to pay attention more on what I'm actually putting out there, and how, just observe people around me at work, because they are like deeply in a deep sleep, and they absolutely have no idea what I'm talking about if I'm start talking about. But sometimes I feel like, and I see it, they lightening up, they're warming up, but sometimes from the blue, all of a sudden they're just all this frozen inside again. And sometimes I think, what happened? What happening? And I probably need to look inside myself in this moment. Just thinking what the heck I was putting out in this, this moment when they're all of a sudden, if it's mirror and if it's me, if it's actually reflection what's going inside in me, I need to pay attention much more on that one. So that's what I want focusing on.
Wonderful.
I want to start focusing on accepting more. I try to do that. I accept people for who they are, and I try to accept the experiences that are happening in my life, tied to my inward energy of where I'm supposed to be. I always want to feel like I'm aligned with my higher good and the higher good for all concerned. So in that space, I tend to just have to accept it. Sometimes I'm in a place right now, literally in a place right now, that I'm going to what I call work right now. That's what I call it right now. I'm not sure that's what it is. I feel like no matter where I am, job-wise, it's always for the people. Who these people are, I don't know all the time, but whether it's from a past life, or sometimes I feel like there's a relationship deeper than we both know. And even in the space today, I keep thinking, if there's an Akashic record, we're all in it. And somehow we're intertwined. And all I can see is trees and the roots in the ground. The roots are all tangled up, and the trees look like they're standing alone, but you're not. And I can't do nothing but focus there. And sometimes I think people think I'm crazy because I'm like this most of the time. I'm seldom any other way.
That's a beautiful
Love y'all.
metaphor that you painted there. I mean, if you just, have conversations about, did you ever notice that trees, they look like they're standing alone, but their roots are intermingled and they're all, connecting and helping each other? We're like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a beautiful metaphor. So that's the other thing. I think some people sometimes think, well, hey, did you know that, the banksters do this and that? Or did you know that, they're putting something in those fires? Or so you could do that. I mean, that's helpful. But I think something that lights you up, that's simple, although most people never think about, but those kinds of metaphors, that gets people opening and awake, and it was a fun exchange, and they want to feel that again. So they'll start to see, where can I find someone else, and tree roots and trees and or sparkly effervescent or whatever it is. So, yeah, that was beautiful.
So this is Taliesin. I'll just say that what my choice is to continue what I've already started, and that is to commune with Mother Nature and give her all the support, our Mother Earth. I'll give her all the support that she needs that I can possibly give her in this evolution that is occurring at this moment. And I know that as I support her in this transition, that she is giving me access to my own quantum powers, and I want to continue that. And part of that is to be a first responder. I've always known that that's my calling. When people are really freaked out, to calm them best I can and to bring them back to a safe place. And I just, that when I've had that opportunity and I've engaged in that, it gives me so much in my life. So that's my choice.
Wonderful. When you were speaking, Talis, and I'm going to share because it popped in so strongly, this vision of this that you were creating for people was this amazing fertile patch of a garden to grow whatever they wanted, and you're there as a first responder to say, no, it's warm and moist and fertile and everything's here and it's a field of all possibility, so let's just sit at peace and feel how nice it is and go from there.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Well, this is Barbara. Is it okay to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I guess I was thinking about my lifestyle and my encounter. Well, as you know, BZ, I'm pretty isolated. Although I'm out in the world part of the time with my elderly 96-year-old aunt during the day. So I suppose I can. I'm pretty tapped in with her. We're such good friends. But as far as the rest of the world goes, I think I've been on autopilot. I can feel energies, but I think what I want to do is amplify my ability to feel energy in the moment and click off the autopilot and be more cognizant about really reading energies wherever I go and be more alert and aware about what's going on. Wake myself up consciously thinking about that wherever I go. Despite my being isolated, spending a lot of time when I'm not with my aunt at home. So I guess that's what I want to do. What does it feel like in places I go? I guess I'll just practice at Trader Joe's. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, noticing and trusting will be your two biggest friends there. So trusting yourself, trusting what you're noticing, and playing with it. We can't get any of this wrong, regardless of what our brain tells us. And we can't ever get it done because we're always going to be expanding and expanding and expanding. So that ship has sailed. If you think you're going to get it done, how many couple quadrillion million years in existence source do you have? Because, so. Yeah, but that sounds really cool. And notice while you're driving. I mean, there's people right? Aren't there beings in vehicles all around you between your place and your aunt's place?
Of course.
Well, there you go. That's the thing. We don't, I mean, it's nice to reach out and touch someone, but we've all reached out and touched each other right here. I'm where I am, and Barbara's where she is, and Taliesin and Esther and Katie and Irina. We're all in our quote unquote different spaces, separate from each other. But no, we're really not. We're all right here, and we can co-create together in lots of different ways. But I think that our thinking, and our thinking we can't, keeps us from thinking that we can. So if we quit thinking, then I know we can do it. Right?
Barbara, I enjoyed what you shared. That was beautiful. One of the things I started to do, and I don't know if it will be helpful, is when I walk out in the morning and I look out, just being able to walk outside is a blessing in itself, because there are people who can't. So just doing that, and I look up and I said, universe, I accept all the delights you could possibly deliver today. And then I expect that.
Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Right.
Okay, so anybody else have any final thoughts? That was everybody gave their focus, right? We got everybody? Yeah. Any final thoughts anybody wants to share before we wrap up this table?
I think we created great energy. I'm just basking in that. I'm just melting. It feels so good.
The last thing I'd like to say is just that I'm really focusing on the grid work in the courtroom on Wednesday, and just setting it up. So that's one of my focuses.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a very
Thank you, BZ.
enlightening day. Thank you.
Yeah. Should we have BZ? I don't know. Maybe there'll be a group meditation or a quick time to shoot some positive energy that morning. Maybe
absolutely, because Barbara's going to write a comment on the IUV blog, and then I'm going to repost it everywhere, and it's all done because we got a creative being here just manifested that.
Ow! Okay.
It's done.
There you go. And so it is. And so everybody give yourself the gift of wrapping up this table, fold it in your pocket. The energy that's here is always available to you, and you can amplify it. Yes, you can amplify it out wherever you go, and